Hey guys, Sarah here. Welcome back for a swatching video. I mentioned recently, well, let's say recently, I don't know when this is actually going to get posted. I have been lucky enough to receive some really beautiful happy mail of late, and I've been thinking about how to share and talk about colours and all of that jazz that I've discovered. And so I've pulled out from my new pen friend E, who has an incredible Instagram. I think I definitely pronounced it wrong when I was talking about it last time. So I asked Google, how would I pronounce this? And I think last time I said Inktipodes. I think it's actually Inktipodes. I don't know, it started talking about the formation of the word octopus. Google did. Anyway, check it out. Her Instagram is incredible. And yep, so I've chosen, every ink she gave me is just chef's kiss. Definitely knows my murky, muted, dark, dirty, whatever you kind of want to call it, vibe. So I've chosen 10 to just go through today. And of all the samples she sent me, only one had I ever tried before, and randomly that was Utamaro Amamurasaki, which I loved, and then actually wanted to buy a bottle of, and it was all sold out. And so I have like a full vial of that now. So I'm not going to swatch that. But yes, and as I do this, I have literally 2 pages left of one of my little AI ink name things. So I might have a look at some of them and put them aside to fill that out later. But I've got 10, so let's jump in. I'm not doing them in any particular order. Same as always, I think I say all the gear, no idea, my little, and my Wearingle dip nib, my trusty little toothbrush holder from Daiso, and my massively oversized Books Are Magic cup, which I'm never going to drink a cup of tea in because it's way too big, but books are magic, and I've just kind of assigned it to be my little watery thingamajig. So let's start. The first one, there's definitely a couple of Kitty Inkpot inks in here, is a Kitty Inkpot ink Clouds Bring in the Autumn Colours. Let's just jump in. Oh, even in the vial it looks beautiful. Now I always find like I set up the shot and then always go and move the book when I actually start. Actually hadn't planned on filming today. Your girl, being me, actually decided to take a mental health day today. I don't want to keep like whining and where am I going to write this? In all of my, it's a long one, so I might do it here, in all of my videos, but it's just been a rough few weeks, and then my son ended up in hospital yesterday. He's fine. Is it clouds or cloud? Clouds. Bring in the autumn. Oh, I didn't make it. Colours. He's fine. He had a fall and hit his head and lost consciousness for a couple of seconds. And then obviously, like, he wasn't with me. Met there, took him in, and he's totally fine. And I'm coming round to the fact that raising boys different to raising girls. That's our second time in hospital in a matter of months, and yeah, he's got energy, and he's probably going to keep catapulting himself off things for, how old is he, 3.5, I don't know, the next 10 years, hopefully 8, but long way of saying now I'm just getting distracted by this ink. I'll talk about the ink first. Straight away, I don't know if I said at the start, this is just my normal Tomoe River Hobonichi, like the blank A6 notebook, that chroma shading as it splits across the page, I want to say it's like a green undertone, but I almost feel it's like an aqua blue undertone. And then you've got the orange and the greens and the brown on top. Obviously, you're not seeing as much of that in the writing, but in terms of how it all comes together, the way it's chromo shading there, the first thing that jumps to my mind, and it's not the same ink, is the Japanese Rose from Collection Trace, but I think that's just because of like that nettled orange almost over the top. It's definitely not, it's not the same color. That's just what I've kind of associated in my head. But that is just an absolutely gorgeous ink. And let's jump on. Oh, look, I actually have a Collection Trace, so why don't we do that next? So yes, I got home last night and just was beyond exhausted. A 50-50 care of my kiddos, and it happened to be a day yesterday where I don't have them, and it is a incredibly bizarre feeling of like being in hospital with your kid. Collection, being so thankful that they're okay. You know, I'm not wanting to not acknowledge that, you know, some people go into hospital and don't get to take their kids home, which is beyond. And, you know, you got to hug and kiss him and all that, and then you leave hospital together but not take him home. It's a mind, you know, word that rhymes with duck. So I woke up this morning just a bit sad and beyond exhausted, and I took a mental health day, and I'm happy that I did. It's like 1 o'clock now. I've just spent the morning kind of cleaning, and then I thought maybe do some, as I've been calling it to myself, Chroma Therapy, because I do find swatching so meditative and regulating and all of that. But enough about me and all of my woe is me. I really don't know much about Collection Trace as a ink brand. I've literally tried one other, which is one I was talking about before, Japanese Rose. This is called Boteng, probably butchered the name Boteng. The vibrancy coming through is just pretty amazing. Actually, with Ea, we were chatting on Discord the other day, and I was just kind of like, I really don't like blue. I don't get all the hype. And then we were talking about kind of being able to get behind a good blurple and things like that. Now, this for me is definitely more purple than blurple, obviously, but I kind of like in the swatch where you can see that blue coming through, which I guess just adds it's almost like a blurple halo to then the purple ink, which is really beautiful. Both of these have felt really decent on the nib, actually, which is I always like to, I guess, see or feel, because, you know, with chroma shading inks, and they can be dry, and I use fine and extra fine nibs, but both of those felt really good. Next up is a Dominant Industry ink. Am I going to be able to pronounce this? Absolutely not. Duftrausch, German. I'm guessing it's a scented ink, and it smells like potpourri. And then someone in the comments is going to be, Duftrausch is the German translation for, oh, look at that though. Oh. I had swatched these really quickly just on my Wearingle little swatch cards that I do as a catalogue, just to kind of work out what I wanted to pull out and be able to make some videos. But when I do that, as silly as it sounds, I really don't spend much time like looking at the ink, because I kind of want to experience it here. Dominant Industry, wasn't it? Dominant, that's going to be too wet. Oh well. Industry. Doof. doof, 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 doof. That's what we used to call trance festivals many moons ago. Call them doof doofs. There you go. There's something you didn't know about me. Back in my youth, was not immune to going to a good trance festival. None of this, like, what do they call it now? Like EDM stuff. I'm talking like infected mushroom. Do you call them a band if it's all computer and DJ? Anyway, circling back, obviously my middle of the day ADHD medication has not kicked in. This is in that grey purple. As I'm watching it dry, I don't know if it's, I just want to see on the camera. Can you see here, like in those bits? Oh, there's a good example there. There's like actually this blue coming through. That's really beautiful. Not seeing any of the blue come through in the purple, but in my mind, I'm wondering if that's kind of what gives it that cooler vibe. I'm trying to think if I can even associate it with anything. I don't know if I can. Well, that's interesting. Just looking at the collection traced in the Sailor. That actually wasn't. Yeah, I really cannot. I feel like it's almost in the same family as Tin Yik from Hosier Ink Studio, but this has much more of a. I'm going to contradict what I said before, because before I said it kind of makes it cooler, but then there's these kind of like browny pinks. That's just a really interesting, beautiful, muddy purple, which is definitely, I don't know, it makes me smile. Now this one here in the middle is poking out at me because it had a totally different color on the top. So this is a Fan Yan Tan ink and it's Spring White Space. And I reckon this is going to be like an amber or an orange. I don't remember when I think we're going to go orange just to change things up a little bit. Ooh, like peachy. Wow, that's a beautiful color. I'm just very interested to see how it feels on the nib. I mean, it's not going to be a complete representation because this, you know, is a nib kind of designed to do some calligraphy, but Yan Tan. Oh, there's a word in there somewhere, guys. Spring White Space. Oh, there you go. So starting to get a little bit dry there. So the first thing that I've thought of is I'm going to put this ink to the side and put that in my little ink, do a little ink name one there, because I write with my fine nib Iro Utsushi in there, and I'd really like to see what it's like on the fine nib. Always excited to see a light ink that looks legible when writing, but again, I definitely want to refer, like do a little bit more investigation there. I find it so incredible. I don't like color theory in general. I'll get back to that tangent. But like before, when I was talking about the dominant industry one as being warm, and then you put what is, I guess, you know, a more known warm color next to it, and it just completely changes. Like all of a sudden, it just pops out the blues. I find color theory super dominant industry, super interesting. I actually was doing some research the other day. Oh, it's in my notebook, my messy notebook, the one I don't really show on here. Years ago, I did a bit of a swatching kind of series on color theory, and I kind of like to revisit it. And I was just thinking about, I guess, not like the interaction with the internet, but, you know, if you look at, if you were to Google, you know, your basic color names and stuff now, a lot of things that come up, it talks about actually like hex codes and things like that. And I was, I guess, wanting to look at, you know, like a color I really like that burgundy, pinky purple area. I mean, that's 3-in-1, isn't it? But this, by the way, is an ostrich ink. Ooh, that was very wet on the nib there. This is called Mocha Mousse. I almost feel like that's going to bleed through. That feels really super wet, but not that, you know, when you swatch like saturated inks and it almost feels like sticky on the nib, it didn't feel like that. It just, I feel like I could almost feel the paper give way. It hasn't yet, but that's, yeah, just when I was doing the H there, unless I press down too hard with the nib. But yes, that is I don't have words. Brown ink definitely felt super wet. Maybe it has a higher water content or something, but dark as well. And be interesting to see how these darker bits dry up here compared to, obviously I re-dipped on the M, but even at that lightest bit, that actually looks quite readable or legible, which is kind of cool to see. What was I saying? Oh, and if I kind of looked at your kind of broader categories, you know, of pink hex codes or something, and kind of did a bit of an exploration around that. I think the reason I was looking at that is I would like to actually just swatch all of my burgundy, red, pink, pinky purple inks. I honestly just don't know if I would be able to talk for that long. So whether I film it and speed it up and do a voiceover, which I don't really do, or I've been holding off doing it because I just don't know what to talk about the whole time. But I actually also don't know. This is a Wearingle ink, and I feel like people know what this one is. There's no I there. It's Jane Eyre for those playing at home. I've seen people swatch this quite a few times, so I feel really lucky to have been able to get a sample of it. Again, that purpley, pinky, it's all just my happy place. And as it's drying, it almost looks like bits of grey coming up there, which is really, really cool to see. I just want to jump back to the Mocha Mousse for a second. I don't know what it is about this ink. There's just something interesting in how it's dry. There's almost like little speckles. Is it a pigment ink? I'm trying to just... I wonder, do I have like another brownish? Just want to look. It's definitely more opaque in the vial. I wonder, I might look that up after, or you can let me know. But Jane Eyre, a really beautiful purple. And then it makes me think about when we were talking about the blue in here. Like, that's not a blurple, but I love how in 6 inks, there's 3 colors that sit within purple, right? Totally different ends of the spectrum. I mean, a spectrum technically has 2 ends, and I'm talking about 3 inks, but that's kind of where my head's been at. Just thinking about, as I keep talking about that, the next one we're going to do is Colorverse Dust Storm. But yeah, I think it would take me a while to swatch all of that color family, even if I just say burgundy, red, and pink. And I don't know 2 things. The first thing I don't know is, do I have enough to talk about for that whole time? And I think the answer might be no. But the second question is, does that actually matter? Like, can there be some moments of just watching it? But I also think, oh, could that be boring? Yeah. Anyway, let me know. Colorverse Dust Storm. And I think that is definitely another one It's a kind of a cool ink name. I'm gonna put that to the side. So I'm gonna call this a mustard yellow. It'd be really, really interesting to put this next to a warm yellow, a yellow brown, and like an olive green to see which one it kind of goes towards most. Because I think any of the, even like the lighter olive greens, if I was to pull out now, I think are going to look super green, and it's going to make that look really brown and cold. But I'm just seeing if I can grab, I've got one in mind. I just need to think about where it is. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. I'm thinking of Chroma Therapy. And then, of course, I started pulling others out as well. Here you go, Banyan Chroma Therapy. And I reckon this is going to look super green. Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel like that one looks warmer. And then I also just pulled out, I just wanted to see how similar to Inaho it looked. They are different, but I think if you, I mean, Inaho definitely, I don't know if it still does, but had a massive cult following for a while. I would definitely say they're in the same family. But that's the thing, you know, when I did I didn't film it, but I did a green exploration, and I, you know, did I pull out all the olive greens? And then what happens when it goes to that kind of brown green, or then the yellowy brown, like it, you know, where does it end and where does it stop? They're the same thing. Where does it start and where does it stop would be the correct terminology. But I just find it interesting, the variations and the endlessness. And I think that's why all of us sit here and watch swatching videos, isn't it? It's the complexity and the nuance and the creativity and all of those things is so endless, and it's so fun to explore. And then the next layer and layers and layers. But these kind of in between your primary, tertiary color groups, I find super interesting to compare and contrast and see how they, yeah, like react next to each other. This is a Kitty Inkpot ink, and hopefully I've left myself enough room for two more. So is this one be interesting when it dries, because as it chromo shades, definitely can see the purple coming through. This is called Little Boat's Journey Amid Rain. Great. I didn't leave myself enough room there. I'm going to start it here. Go rogue. Little. I do love the Kitty Inkpot ink names. Journey Amid. I'll do it there. The purple came through so quickly in the chromo shading. I reckon as it dries though, this is going to shift more towards just a blue. But again, that looks so beautiful. As it's in the writing sample, I'm not really seeing any of the purple come through, but the kind of cooler grey bits I am. But let's wait and see when it dries. Two more, and actually they are both Kitty Inkpot inks. This one has the longest name ever. So the penultimate is another Kitty Inkpot malt and ginger cookies at the market. See, great names, fantastic names. And also, as we get down to the end, can we just do big snaps for an amazing pen friend and who definitely knows my color vibe. Now, with this one, on the label she printed out, it says malt and ginger cookies at the market. Have I gone to double check? No. But on Discord, actually, the same person was posting about the ink and called it mint and ginger, not malt and ginger. And malt and ginger sounds like a better cookie flavor. But this is where I'm not sure. There's a green through it, and I go, is it supposed to be mint? Who knows? Am I going to check? No. But if you do know, let me know. Kitty ink pot. Molten ginger would be good. Pot. Let's go with malt. Malt and ginger. Cookies at the market. Oh, I almost got through a whole video without singing. So this is why I think Kitty Inkpot inks, I'm still really getting to know them, but the levels of different chroma shading that they can put in, and like even there in the writing sample, you see the brown, you see the green, you see the orange. It's just incredible. Beautiful. I really like that color too. Interesting, this one, as it's drying down here, the writing sample is going more and more blue, but there are definitely bits of the swatch that are leaning more blurple. And another name I'll mispronounce, but it's another Kitty Inkpot. And it's phonetically elegy, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced elegy of the fallen, like an elegy. I wanted to grab Mocha Mousse again because I was interested to see what this one looks like on paper, because again, compared to some other inks, definitely not looking as transparent. Kitty Inkpot Elegy. It's like, I really like the ink, the Don Quixote ink, but I'm always going, I'm going to mispronounce it, so don't swatch the ink because I don't have to talk about it. Oh, this looks good on the little muddler. Oh, that sounded so Aussie. A little muddler, mate. Have I left myself enough room? Probs not, but we shall persevere. I've been very aware that I've been finishing my videos rambling like it's no one's business of late. So I'm going to be really conscious about that now. I'm going to come up and do a close-up, and I will try my best to remember to come back and film them when they're dry. Maybe I could do the two things in here and then that'll be enough time. But 10 inks, and I have pulled some other inks aside to do some more videos from E and some other pen friends, but these are 10 really beautiful, chromo shady, murky, do they fit into a specific color, not really type ink. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Kitty Inkpot inks here. There you go, that one up there is completely dry. Collection Traced, which I don't know much about as a brand just yet. That Mocha Mousse didn't bleed, that's interesting. An Ostrich ink, Wearingle Jane Eyre, and Fan Yan Tan, and then Colorverse. That one is almost dry and interesting. I didn't look at it through the camera when I was doing it wet, but it felt more orange, and as it's drying, it's actually quite almost like not baby pink, like lolly pink. Yeah, so interesting to see. But there you go, and hopefully I'll come back and do a quick once over for you. Let me know in the comments below. Let's go 3 things. First thing, do you have a favorite out of these, or have you put any of these in a pen recently? Second thing, do you have boys? What is the tip for not spending your life in ED? Emergency department. I hope that is the same acronym everywhere. Or there's that show, what's it called? A Night in A&E, in emergency. And third thing, I said 3 things, I'm adding 2 more. So I did the first 2. Third thing, how would you feel about a longer video if I was swatching kind of all those burgundy, pinky, whatever inks, and there were moments of silence? Is that something that would still be worth watching, or you prefer it in shorter, like chunks, I guess, so that there is some conversation throughout. And lastly, if any of my rambles about the color theory grouping stuff made sense and it would be of interest, definitely let me know down there, because I'll probably be learning about it and doing it either way. It's just whether I chuck my camera on or not. But there you go. All right, they're almost all dry. Look, oh my goodness. Can you see? That is wild. And it's in the writing sample as well. Oh, wow. The pinks, the oranges, the browns, and wow. Okay, I will be back soon and we can look at them all dry. Your girl actually remembered. So here they are all dry. And I'm going to come up really close to just look at them slowly. So we have Clouds Bring in the Autumn Colours from Kitty Inkpot, and the bordering or haloing, whatever you want to call it, around that. It's like a pastel aqua with this darker orange halo is so beautiful. Next we did Boteng from Collection Traced, Dominant Industries Doof Trouch, which I can't pronounce. Doesn't really smell on the page. The Fanyan Tan definitely has dried, much more pink. And I did do it in my little ink name book. It was a lot drier with the fine nib, unfortunately. Mocha Mousse from Ostrich Ink, Jane Eyre from Warringal. Love this. Colourverse Dust Storm. Little Boat's Journey Amid Rain. The last three are all Kitty Inkpot. Molten Ginger Cookies. I would love to see those two next to each other. Same kind of thing of the greeny blue in the middle and then that warmer orange on the outside. And again, coming up in the writing sample. And then look at this, the Elegy of the Fallen. Look at all of that chroma shading. I definitely want to get this one into a pen and explore it if it can work in a fine nib. It felt good on that nib going down, but that is just a truly beautiful ink. So there we go. A big thank you to E. Check out her Instagram. It's her ink reviews and her knowledge. It's just out of this world. And I have some Pen BBS inks from her and some Birmingham Pen Company ones, and I really love Pen BBS, so I've kind of put them together and I'm going to do a Pen BBS swatching with some of mine as well, and then I'll put a Birmingham Pen Company one together as well. So there you go. I will speak to you guys soon. Bye.